Warm greetings to one and all gathered here. On behalf of the student community of Sathyabama University, it is a pleasure for me to place on record in this venue of scholars the achievements of great physicists who have taught us to tame nature and turn it overhead to man's advantage. Life is physics and physics is life, which has started at Alpha and never ending at Omega, where it made life to erupt from the deep sleeping silence, which gave Nobel Awards to the Nobel laureates. For what? For whom? For why? And when? Let me narrate the essence in chronological order, right from the 17th century till date. Prior to that, let me invoke the Almighty by saying, if any good thing comes, let it go to the feet of the Guru. And I am responsible for errors and mistakes. Please bear with me, if any. The development of physics from classical to modern era can be described as man's epoch into novelty. In classical era, Galileo Galilei, who was a mathematician and an astronomer, he has been called the father of modern science and father of observational astronomy as well. The late 17th and 18th century saw the achievements of greatest icon of the scientific revolution, Sir Isaac Newton, considered by many to be the greatest and most influential scientist who ever lived. Over the millennia, the inquisitive mind of man has achieved incredible creative wonders. The more and more the society gets organized, it creates a body of thought and a body of knowledge. That is science. The history of mankind has registered flawless growth in civilization and impressed human societies with phenomenal scientific advancement. To be specific, 20th century has been recognized as a gateway to enter the knowledge age and has registered overall growth of mankind through scientific progress. To top it all, life and work of Professor Dr. Alfred Nobel has been a beacon for mankind, steering human consciousness and striving for betterment of mankind through the service of science. Professor Dr. Alfred Nobel is a Swedish chemist who invented safe-to-handle explosive or dynamite. After this discovery, unfortunately, people misused dynamite for destructive purpose, which earned them the epithet Merchant of Death. Alfred Nobel was disgusted over these negative effects of his making and thus stirred his conscience to write a will that to institute the Nobel Prize in recognition of greatest scientific work for world peace and prosperity. As on date, Nobel Prize is the highest reward in recognition of the greatest contribution towards science, peace, medicine and literature. There are highly distinguished Nobel laureates who have guided destiny of man, especially in 20th and 21st century. Among those stalwarts, the first Nobel laureate in physics was awarded to Dr. Röntgen in the year 1901 for discoveries of X-rays. Professor Dr. Albert Einstein was one of the 20th century greatest thinkers and was awarded Nobel Prize for discoveries of photoelectric effect in 1921. He revolutionized the field of physics and forever altered our understanding of the basic working of the universe. He is responsible for the dawn of the atomic age. Einstein remains today, even after half a century after his death, as one of the most powerful symbols of pure genius. Next, there comes an important photograph, a very rare picture of Nobels. Most of us wouldn't have noticed it. It was taken during the famous Solvay Conference of 1927 that made stalwarts to meet and is rightly recognized as the golden year of physics, 1927. Look at the picture. You know nearly 17 out of 29 attendees are Nobel laureates. The gentleman seated at the center is Professor Einstein, the robust personality, that's Madame Curie. Only this conference paves the way for these scientists to put their ideas, and from then on, the concepts of quantum mechanics took its own shape. Hence, my dear students, friends, you would now agree the importance of international conference and publications, which serve to keep the galaxies of scientists throughout the world to be in touch and taste the thunder and share monumental achievements. The rising stars recognized from the Solvay Conference are Professor Albert Einstein and Professor Louis de Broglie, where the former is recognized for his revolutionary idea on relativity, and whereas later for his groundbreaking contribution to the quantum theory. Have you ever heard about the 2-page doctoral thesis? Yes, we have. It is the thesis of Professor Dr. Louis D. Broch. He has been awarded the Nobel Prize in the year 1929 for his conception of matter waves and his behavior on his world-famous doctoral thesis consisting of just 2 pages. You know, he chose a thesis title from his seniors who just defended his thesis. His intellectual contribution was approved by Professor Einstein himself at that time. Here comes an example for conviction and confidence. Yes, it is Professor John Burdeen. He is well known for his confidence because when he was awarded his first Nobel Prize in the year 1956 for the invention of transistor, he was alone to receive the Nobel Prize. And it seems the king asked him why he was alone for such a big recognition. He replied to the king, "I will bring both of my children to my next award." Surprisingly, he has been awarded the next Nobel Prize in the year 1972 for BCS theory of superconductivity, where he took his family to receive the Nobel Prize. He is the only person to receive Nobel Prize in physics twice. Next is the versatile and dynamic lady. Yes, it is Madame Curie. She received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903 for the discovery of radioactivity and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911 for the isolation of pure radium, making her the only person to win Nobel Prize in 2 different sciences. Have you ever heard about a family full of Nobel laureates? One and the only distinguished family that can boast of having received Nobel Prize many a times is the family of Curies. The members are as follows: Marie Curie, her husband Peter Curie, their daughter Irene Curie, Irene's husband Frederick Curie, Marie Curie's second daughter Henry Labuschagne. Next, we shall explore a new aspect, the father and son receiving Nobel Prize. There are 4 pairs of father and son receiving Nobel Prize. There are William Bragg and Lawrence Bragg in 1915, J.J. Thomson 1906 and George Paget Thomson in 1937, Niels Bohr in 1922 and Arjen Bohr in 1975, Man Saint-Barn in 1924 and Kai M. Saint-Barn in 1981. Out of this unique father and son combination that has achieved in the same year and in the same dais is the Braggs. Nextly, J.J. Thomson discovered the particle called electron, whereas his son G.P. Thomson showed that it's not only a particle, rather that electron could also behave as a wave. William Bragg has another feather in his hat. He is the youngest person to receive Nobel Prize at the age of 25. Next, to praise our own pride, yes, about the Indian Nobel laureates. India doesn't lag behind in producing scientific luminaries. As compared to the international scenario, the promising Nobel laureates from India, though they are very handful, they have made a path-breaking and earth-shattering achievements. They are Professor Subramanian Chandrasekhar. He is well known for theoretical studies on physical processes of importance to the structure and evolution of stars. In 1983, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. Sir Chandrasekhar Venkataraman for his magnificent work on the scattering of light and for the discovery of the Raman effect in 1930, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. I'll be failing in my duty if I didn't mention the greatest contribution of Professor Jagdish Chandra Bose, Professor Meghanand Saha, Professor Vikram Sarabhai, Professor Aryabhatta, Professor Homi Jahangir Baba, Professor Satyendra Nath Bose. We have renowned Research and Development Institute in their names, to name a few. In Calcutta, we have Bose Institute, S.N. Bose National Center for Basic Science, Zaha Institute of Nuclear Physics, Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad, founder Professor Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in Trivandrum, Aryabhatta Research Institute of Observational Science in Uttarakhand, Baba Atomic Research Center, founder is Professor Homi Jahangir Baba. I should not forget to record the contribution of the following scientists who have shaped the destiny of physics: Professor Richard Feynman, Professor Peter Higgs, Professor Stephen Hawking, Professor Max Planck, Professor Werner Heisenberg, Professor Erwin Schrödinger, Professor Wolfgang Pauli, Professor Pauli M. Dirac. And in the midst of the darkness, as light shows up and brightens the life, we are honored and blessed to have Professor Walter Kohn. Professor Walter Kohn is an Australian-born American theoretical physicist. He was awarded with John Popple the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1998 for his contribution to the development of density functional theory and understanding of the electronic properties of material. As an ode, I would like to recite a few lines from the famous hymn. Lead kindly light, amid encircling gloom, lead thou me on. The night is dark and I am far from home, lead thou me on. Keep thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distance seen, one step enough for me. Amen. I am sure the stellar personality of today's conference will shine on us and lead this galaxy of scientists of the conference. We welcome the most beloved and distinguished chief guest. We are blessed to have the association of following Nobels: Swiss physical chemist Richard Robert Ernest, German physicist Johann Georg Bednorz and Collis von Kilsking, also Dr. Douglas Dean Oshoff and Professor Dr. Walter Kohn to our conference, IC Rapid 2014, that leaves the Department of Physics footprint in the hearts of our Sathyabama University.